Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Media Matters for Anfield Index. What do you do when it's one game a week for the Reds? Well, transfer talk ramps up, names ramp up, contract talk ramps up, especially as well. And there's plenty to talk about. And when we had a special Media Matters, there is only one place to start, and that's with Mr. Lewis Steele of the Daily Mail. Now, normally, Lewis, when we bring a guest on, a respected journalist, we start very friendly. But you've been busier than Craig David this week with your stories and playing on our sort of heartstrings and minds, haven't you, really?
I've been busier than Craig David. I like that reference quite a lot. It's been quite hectic this week. I was actually thinking, well, they're out of Europe now, so the midweeks will be quite chilled out. But a lot of things have been going on. So there's been a lot of talk about the contracts in the last week, really. Just like little things lingering in the background, people texting saying it's done on both counts of Salah and Virgil. And yesterday was a weird one because I sort of did my usual Wednesday column.
Yeah.
And I sort of teased Salah a little bit by saying he is going to miss the Egypt-June international camp because he wants to be fully fit and rested for next season, with a view to him being at Liverpool again. And I'll let you into a little secret on that. But below that, there was a couple of lines that sort of said it is now highly anticipated that Salah will be signing a contract soon, and he's closing in on doing so. One of my editors texted me straight away saying, "Hang on a minute, is this not like a big, massive story? Shouldn't we be doing a separate story on this?" And I was like,
Copy. Yeah.
And I was like, I've really set myself up there because I didn't want to hang my neck on the line, really, because, I knew the reaction would be massive and I wanted to make sure I was 99.9% on it before I put anything out there. And at that point, I was probably only 98% sure. So I spent yesterday doing a lot of checks with a lot of different contacts around the world. And the message I was getting back from all of them was, yeah, it's nearly done, 2 years probably. Although I'm not 100% on the 2 years, but I think it will be. But the main thing was everyone was coming back saying, yeah, listen, this is done. It's not officially signed, but it will be soon. So I thought, right, let's do it. Let's put it out. And so going back a couple more days, Virgil said to us in the mix zone that there was progress made on his contract, and obviously did a bit of digging around that. And the word I got back on that was, yeah, that is very close as well. Not done, again, not official, nothing signed, but it is getting very close. So that's why we hit you with the double whammy that they're both close, and that is the case. Hopefully, I'm not sure when the actual announcements will be. I don't know whether they might wait until the title's officially wrapped up before they do that, but we're definitely heading in the right direction, and both of them are ready to commit their futures to Liverpool.
This was going to be one of my next questions, actually, because you mentioned the two. Brilliant news all round. I mean, timings, because we've all got hopes of we get it before West Ham and we bounce into that game and we're singing their songs, but it's not done. But it's fair to say 99.9% done. It's just when, not if, in case there's any doubts.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't think, as far as I'm aware, they've not put pen to paper yet. But there's sort of maybe everyone has sort of got an agreement that it will get done. They've found agreements. They're both closing in on signing that deal, which puts an end to a very long-running saga, which at times has become a bit annoying and boring and many other things. It's gone on for far too long, but it sounds like it's done, and we can all forget about all the different debates we've had on shows like this and all the annoyances we've had over the fact they've not signed yet. But it sounds like it's getting there and it's done now.
Brill. And for this, because as you say, it seems to have dragged on for like eternity. Part of that, whilst it's dragged on, both players wanted to sign. There's never been any doubt on that. It is fair to say and give them credit on both sides. All the stories are these two players, they've turned down massive money from other clubs or other outlets, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I think that we should give credit to Richard Hughes on this, which will probably get a few people, rub a few people up the wrong way, me saying that. But I do think you look at Richard Hughes' first year in the job, yes, it was annoying in the transfer market last summer, but he has recruited Arne Slot when how many people can say hand on heart that they thought that Slot was the right choice when Klopp announced that he was leaving? Richard Hughes has gone and found him, and he's took the Premier League by storm. Lost 2 games all season, about to win the title, which is a lot harder to do than many people think. So all credit to Richard Hughes. He's inherited the situation of these 3 players, the 3 best players out of contract. Well, it feels like before he even set foot in the door, Trent had one eye on Real Madrid, and it was by no means easy to get the other 2 done, which is why it's taken so long. And as you say, they did have a lot of interest from abroad. Like, imagine how much money the Saudis would have been willing to pay Mo Salah compared to what he's paid at Liverpool. So that was why it was not easy, because whether Salah wanted to go to Saudi or not, and obviously we know he didn't want to go there, but his representatives could say to Liverpool, listen, we've been offered X amount at Saudi. So it made it really hard. And Virgil had a lot of interest from around Europe as well. But they both wanted to stay. Liverpool wanted them to stay. Arne Slot wanted them to stay. And yeah, well done to everyone involved for getting them done finally.
The only other thing, I mean, it is brilliant news and credit to everyone involved. I know you'll know about this theory, Lewis. People are calling it the Robbie Fowler theory. You probably remember around, I think it was like Christmas time, wasn't it? Robbie Fowler said he was hearing that the other 2 had agreed the deal and practically signed, but nothing was coming out because of the Trent situation, everyone expecting what was going to happen there. And now with obviously your story, other journalists as well, people are like, there's real truth in that theory. Are you steering into that, or are you more the fact of no, there's just been a breakthrough in the last few weeks?
Yeah, the latter one. That I don't think what Robbie Fowler said was true. In fact, I know it's not true. Yes, maybe they were both more likely to stay than not. But when he said that they were both signed, absolutely no, they weren't signed. And there has just been a breakthrough found in the last month or so. I feel like there was a lot of talk about the contracts in the sort of Christmas period, and that involves Mo Salah himself talking about it. But he's gone quiet recently, which normally means that he's happy or happier. So I think he was quite pleased with the progress that had been found and made. So it's definitely not true that they've been signed for a few months, because as far as I'm aware, they've still not officially signed on pen on paper, but it is about to happen, or it will happen eventually in the next few weeks. As I said a minute ago, I don't know when it'll be officially announced, but I wouldn't be surprised if they leave it a bit, really, because the whole thing this season is they don't want the contract talk to distract from what's going on the pitch, and they may think let's wait until we've wrapped up that title before we make any official announcement. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we had to wait another 3 or 4 weeks before we get any official news on that. It was the same with Slot last season. Everyone knew that he was going to be the manager, but it didn't officially get announced until, I don't know, like May or June or something. So yeah, I think that's basically it.
You forget in about 8,000 press conferences, Arne Slot had to keep denying it when he was final manager, or say, I'll talk about it when there is news as well. God, thinking back to that. And probably the final question I'll ask you for this show around contracts. I'm not going to promise that in the future, because you know something's going to come up at the same time. But sort of breaking these down into 2 parts, with Trent and the fact that Salah's close, Van Dijk close, we're expecting that anytime. It's when, not if, as you say. The trend, and I know you've written about this before, and there's sources from Spain, etc. It does just feel like an air of inevitability, as in 2 out of 3 are staying, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and the same with the other two. Trent hasn't officially agreed to join Real Madrid yet, or well, maybe he's agreed, but he hasn't officially signed anything yet.
Yeah,
Um, and I think his full focus at this current moment in time is to win the title with Liverpool, get back fit. But it does feel like he will end up there. As everything that I've heard in the last 6 months suggests that he's going to Real Madrid. I thought it was quite obvious from about early December, to be honest. And them stories a couple of weeks ago didn't really move it on that much. It was mainly just Real Madrid have always been confident, and that remains the case. Now maybe Trent's watched Arsenal absolutely batter Real Madrid the other night and starting to have doubts, but I think it's too late now. I think he will end up there, and Mo and Virgil will end up staying. So 2 out of 3. I mean, it's still bad that they're losing Trent for nothing, but this sort of softens the blow somewhat, I think.
definitely. Worked for Meatloaf. It worked for us. And I suppose the final one, Ibu. That's one that I know you've written about as well. He's almost forgetting that as much as we're trying to get these two resolved and the third one moves on, Ibu will have only 12 months left to go in the
Yeah.
summer. And there's talk that the wage demands are quite high, suggestions even close to the 200 grand a week mark. With the situation, is there an expectancy from you almost that all the chips are on Ibu's side of the table, really, for negotiation? Liverpool don't want him to leave cheap. The suitors, that'll just get done, even if it's a higher wage than Liverpool ultimately really want to give him.
Yeah, I mean, so Liverpool opened talks with Konate about 6 months ago now, or maybe a bit less. And as far as I'm aware, there's been no sign of a breakthrough yet. There is time on it, so there's no need to stress about anything to do with that yet.
Mm.
But it is fair to say that Konate's long-term future does have a bit of uncertainty around it now. Real Madrid are sort of keeping an eye on his situation as they were with Trent this time 12 months ago, as far as I'm aware. So there's definitely uncertainty over Konate's future. There is a bit of a school of thought that he wanted to see how Liverpool went about these contracts this summer,
Yeah.
whether he was willing to commit his long-term future to them. And that's going to be annoying because we've got these contracts out of the way, and now everyone's worried about Ibu. So there's always some sort of contract thing to worry about, and I do think it might become a bit more of an issue next season. But as I said, there's a lot of time on that. There's no need to stress just yet. And obviously, with respect to Konate, losing him would not be as thingy as not as bad as if you lost a Van Dijk or a Salah.
Yeah.
Obviously, a
True.
great defender, but not the best defender in the world. So, Van Dijk is the best defender in the world, so it is a bit different. But yeah, no breakthrough on that yet. So I think that's one to move the priorities to in the near future, maybe at some point in the summer.
Fingers crossed. Contract talk on the whole will just reduce from there, but I doubt it because there's still a fair few with 2 years or so left to go. So we'll see what develops on those. And this story, well, I'm not going to lie, this was you again this week, wasn't it? This was earlier today. The tweet from Ryan Gravenberch's long-term agent, Jose Forte Rodriguez. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I saw a lot of people react to this saying, oh, what's this mean? The implication in the future. I kind of read that as just Gravenberch's agent saying that we looked at the Barca situation, but that didn't happen. Real Madrid like him. But because of where he is, it would just be too much. It's now impossible. Almost for me, the ultimate storm in a teacup, the way people reacting. Am I reading that wrong? Or is it just a case of just an agent being honest?
No, so yeah, I think the context behind the interview is probably quite important. So Jose was doing an interview about himself. The piece wasn't about Gravenberch. It was like a profile piece on Jose, who was basically talking about his clients. So he's got a few of the other Dutch players in the Prem, like
Yeah.
Justin Kluivert, Mickey van der Ven, Brian Bobby at Ajax, and he was basically talking about how he handled Gravenberch's development in terms of, Barca wanted him when he was a teenager and Real Madrid were good. But I think basically what he was trying to say, I think it's been maybe not misquoted, but the meaning of what he wanted to say has been probably lost in translation slightly. It's just that Real Madrid have, were interested in the past, but it's not to say that they're still interested now. And I think it's been slightly misquoted. And Gravenberch, from people I speak to, is loving life at Liverpool, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So yeah, I do think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup on that one.